Yo, guys, just before the video starts, I want to let you know, when it comes to Sunder Grand Charms, there's so many different ways to attack this conversation. I didn't even really get into mercenary options, build-specific options like that yet. I wanted to go over the generics of what a Sunder Grand Charm is, at least on this YouTube channel. We can expand into that as Season 2 begins and begins to unfold, and we can see even more about how Grand Charms do affect the game and the economy and you and your favorite builds and stuff like that. But hopefully you enjoy this very broad video regarding Sunder Grand Charms. Tell me what you think. Hopefully you enjoy it. And there is going to be more content to come down the line. Again, Hammerton videos, Barb, Zon, right? Necro, Druid, Sorceress. Fire is going to be the best. Calling it now. And let me know what you think. Anyway, enjoy the video, guys. Peace out. Take care of each other. See you soon. Yo, dudes. Let's talk about patch 2.5, Sunder Grand Charms, or SGCs, as you may be seeing them online. Sunder Grand Charms are 6 all-new unique Grand Charms available in patch 2.5 and here in Diablo 2 Resurrected. I'm super stoked for them. What they are, they basically are, I'll show you here on your screen, they're basically 6 unique Grand Charms that break an immunity in the game. That's right. How gross is that? Real nuts. And this is what they're called. So you got the Black Cleft, the Bone Break, the Cold Rupture, the Plumber's Crack of the Heavens, the Flame Rift, and the Rotting Fissure. So each one of these respectively breaks an immunity of a monster in the game. So the Black Cleft is for magic, the Bone Break is for physical, the Cold Rupture is for cold, the Crack of the Heavens is for lightning, you got the Flame Rift for fire, and the Rotting Fissure for poison. So the cool thing about these is there's a bit of a give and take here. So these Grand Charms exist, which is great, and I originally thought having this, you'd have to attack the monster, and then you remove the immunity, and then anything you do after that, that first engagement is now, immunity's broken, and you can do whatever you want. That's not the case. Anything on your entire screen, as long as this item's in your inventory, loses its immunity. Nuts. But that comes at a cost. It's a double-edged sword, okay? So the cost is, to you, depending on the element you break, you're going to serve a penalty. So in magic, as for the magic one here, you lose -50 magic resistance. You just take 50% more magic damage. Gross. You break a physical immunity here with the Bone Break, you now receive 25% increased damage. Same thing is true for cold. You want to break cold, you take 75 negative cold res on your character. And the same is true for lightning, fire, and poison. You break any of those elements, you now incur a penalty of -75 resist. I love that. I love that it's a very powerful effect, followed by a very serious repercussion to you. But man, is it ever strong. Is that ever a fantastic way to mix it up in Sanctuary in the endgame? I love it. So how do you get these? Well, the new keyword Sunder Grand Charms only exist if they drop from a monster inside terror zones coming in Season 2. So remember that a terror zone changes every hour. It's really cool. It's a really great way to get fantastic XP in the endgame, but only terrorized zones can drop items like this. And in particular, champions, uniques, super uniques, and boss monsters right here can drop them. So champions, unique, super unique, and bosses only in terror zones drop these Sundered Grand Charms, and there's 6 of them. Here is how these Sunder Grand Charms actually work. As long as one is in your inventory, and don't try and put it in your Roderick Cube, it doesn't register that way, but as long as it's in your inventory, you sunder or remove the immunity of anything on your screen, right? That's awesome. When you do that, any resistances that the targets would have had is now 95. It's all 95 immediately. You see that right here. Sunder is applied before other resistance reducing modifiers, such as, they're talking about lower resistant conviction, things like that, or flickering flame as an example, and only affects non-players. So good. Please do not allow this affect PvP. I love the fact that this is exclusive for PvM or PvE, player versus monster, player versus everything, right? I don't even want this to touch PvP, and I love that they got their, they got their head square on their shoulders here, and they're making a clean decision. I love that. I think PvP is a great way to play the game. Few people do. It's a min-maxy, super interesting way to play the game of Diablo 2 Resurrected, and I'm so happy to see this doesn't affect those guys. That's just great. So Sunder is applied before anything else. So you walk on the screen feeling real good. Boom, everything's got 95 resist. You go boom, low resist. That's fantastic based on whatever level LR you've got, low resist. And then you got this paladin coming up behind you looking real smooth, and he's got conviction out. And you guys are about to tear these guys a brand new starfish because you've got these Sunder Grand Charms. Now, one thing we tried, when I'm using the Sunder Grand Charm, my buddy over here doesn't get it. It's a very personal effect. So let's talk about the Hydra Fire Sorceress for a second using Hydra. The Fire Sorceress is sundering all the targets. The Hydra is not. That three-headed fun bag is doing nothing. So he's going to sit there and puke out fireballs that do no damage because the Hydra is not sundering it. The Sorceress is. So you may see Fire Sorceress builds that do like Meteor, Fireball, Firewall, things like that. That's fine. Even Blaze, you know, a little Tron action for the kids. That's all good. The Hydra Sorceress doesn't do it. It's not going to work on traps, so trapsons get a little bit kind of cucked in that regard too. It's only you as the player and how you engage with the monster. Again, awesome decision. I like it. Would it be cool if it hit Hydra? Yeah, sure. It'd be also cool if I had a toilet seat made out of gold. You know, why not? If we're going to ask for things, but it doesn't work that way. We did some testing. It doesn't work that way. It's only how you engage with the targets that you've sundered, not your minions, not your pets. So let's talk about drop rates for a second. Sundered Grand Charm drop rates. One thing that they mentioned earlier here is during the PTR, which is what we were playing, the Sunder Charms will not drop from monsters and can only be tested through the PTR character templates mentioned later in the blog, which they do talk about. So unfortunately, guys, during the public test realm, the PTR playtest, you would never get these to drop in a terror zone. So I can't actually tell you what the drop rate is. I can ask for nice things. Like, I hope that these SGCs, Sunder Grand Charms, are about a drop rate of Burja. I'd love for that to be the case. I've heard some whispers in the community that it's going to be the same as the Geeds, but that's just talk. I can't say that for sure. I want these things to be rare. I want to have communities of people playing for like an entire week, 2 weeks, and then one guy gets it. One girl gets it. They've got this Grand Charm, and it's very valuable because it's very powerful. I would hate to see these drop in like a frequency equal to, let's say, the D-Clones Annie, because it becomes just kind of dilutes the enjoyment of it. I love doing terror zones. We're going to be grinding this anyway to hit 99 this season. That's already cool, but I really like to see this to be very, very scarce. You know, it kind of makes it feel more important, more, wow, I got that next cool thing. Like, I got that Tyrael's Might. I would love to have this be that rare. I suspect it won't be, but, you know, if I could have my way, they'd be super rare that way. And so if they were that rare, I also think that would also promote just how strong things like Infinity are still, how good Flickering Flame is still. All these items that exist right now, they don't suddenly become bad. I want you guys to know that these Sunder Grand Charms really only matter if your goal is to break immunities. If they're not breaking the immunities, they're not doing anything for you. They're just in your inventory. But the moment that they do break that, now you know, now it's go time, right? Infinity's still strong. Infinity still very much has a place in this game of Diablo 2 Resurrected. Flickering Flame is good. The fire builds are not nearly as strong until they get that, but I think if you get these Sunder Grand Charms, if you've got the Infinity, if you got the Flickering Flame, fire is going to be like up there I'm not going to say number one, but right? Lightning's still going to be good. Cold's still going to be good. Sorceresses, right? Hammerdins are still strong. Smiters are great. Melee's still having a tough time. Javazons are still gross. And they can finally blister up the King, the Cow King. That's cool. Always, right? That's nice. It's just a great way to diversify play with any character you want in the game. The one reason I kept playing Hammerdin all the time, I got used to the hammer pattern, but the one reason I always played Hammerdin was this. I could help carry groups of people by myself. If you needed help, I could get you in the Chaos Sanctuary, and I'll kill everything for you. What's so cool now is I'm no longer restrained by just that Hammerdin. I could do that on any character if I've got the correlating Sunder effect from one of the Grand Charms that I've got. And I think that's awesome. That's going to make me want to play more classes in the game. That's going to hopefully encourage you guys to try their builds and just see what's up. See if we can't actually shake that meta a little bit. I think it's really cool. So now you know what the Sunder Grand Charms are. You know where they come from. You know how to get them. We kind of talk about drop rate, and I hope that it is rare. How does that affect the economy? Well, let's say you're super lucky, right? Let's say you're playing, I got this here ready to go. Let's say you're playing a Poison Nova Necro, okay? And you've got this Rotting Fissure SGC. Congratulations, super rare, right? Fingers crossed. How the hell do you get this to work? You're gonna, on a Poison Nova, you already have a hard time with resistances, right? Have a look at this. I'm gonna move over for a second. Look at the resists here, okay? I managed to get all of my resistances to 75. But that was no easy feat. And watch what's going to happen. Watch what's required to make this happen, okay? In the build, I use a Death Web with a 5/5 Poison Facet on die. I use an Shaco. I've also got a Mage Plate Enigma. I like Mage Plate because you don't have to invest all that much strength to get this thing going. If I wore Archon, I would then have to put more strength in, which gives me less life, and I don't really want that. I want to be as formidable as possible. I've also got a Mars Kaleidoscope and a Spirit Monarch. I've also got on swap, I got a military pick, CTA 664, and a Spirit Monarch. That would be on swap, so I get that bow to give myself some more life and mana. For the gloves, I've got Trangul's Claws. I've got dual BK rings because I want the +1 skills and life to be, again, more tanky, more formidable. And I've got the Arachnid's Mesh Belt. So as for boots, this is maybe a talking point. I'm going with Sandstorm Trek Scarab Shell boots, Ethereal, because they self-repair instead of War Travs in this build, just because I want to eliminate that double-edged sword effect that I'm getting, that negative 75 poison res. These boots alone can roll up to 70% resist, right? That's sick. So if 70% is dealt with right there, that's kind of hot, because remember, Rotting Fissure is removing, sundering all the poison resist, but I'm incurring the penalty of negative 75 poison res, okay? And if I stack this, it would sunder them all the same. I would just take even more negative poison res, so don't stack them. So I've got the Rotting Fissure. I got a bunch of +1 life skillers. If I had this inventory, it'd be insane. And I left 4 squares for what I assume would be the Heraldric Cube, so my magic finding items could go in that box, and we ID and off we go, right? I've also got a torch, which is 2020. I've also got like perfect torch, perfect Annie. But look at the small charms here. This is the economical conversation here. To get perfect resist on a poison necro with a build like that, look what you have to do in the small charms. 2 lightning resist, 11%, 7% small magic find. Those alone are like pretty pricey. And I think the price is gonna go up. I've also got 5 fire resist, 11%, 7% MF. I've also got 1, 2, 3 poison resist 11, 7% MF. And then to top it all off, I've got all res 5, 7% small magic find charms. Like, those are expensive. Those are very pricey. But if you want to have capped res with a gear set like this, that's what it's going to take to get you there in hell using these Grand Charms. So you got to really consider the cost. I just want to make that known. As for the Merc, he's, because we have all the money in the world, we have all these charms, right? We can't be stopped. He's already got the Mancatcher Infinity for that fast attack, crushing blow effect. He's also got Athandes and, Sacred Armor Fortitude. It's crazy to think that these are not that expensive compared to what the small charms are going to be. I actually think these charms right here, these fire resist 11 7s, are going to be like very, very valuable. So hang on to these if you get them. The reason I think that is people that are sundering the fire immunity in the game, they're going to need these to offset that a little bit. Sorceresses kind of, in my opinion, suffer on resist already. And it's true. You could weave some of these items in. I could have a tiara or diadem that has 220 FCR with some resist or runes, that's also true, but I've already got an rune and a Shaco. It's very true, you're not wrong, but those are already expensive too. And there's gonna be a lot of people looking for them. So just something to consider. The amount of work it's gonna take in terms of the small charm to keep your magic find decent and get this effect. I've also got a Geeds there, by the way, this last one, is I think is gonna be something worth pondering. The other thing too, when it comes to torches, just quickly, I think you guys may want to start looking for, like, it's gonna become more valuable. I'm looking more valuable to have a higher resistance on these items. Same is true with an Annie. Like, I might start giving up some attributes just to make sure I have that plus resistance for when I end up hitting one of these SGCs, because I want to make sure I'm not getting cucked when I get it. I need to make sure I'm formidable. And that's just something to consider when you're going down the avenue of using these Sundering Grand Charms. All right, so let's talk about build diversity and the end game grind for a second. I imagine that Terror Zones are going to be happening in the game on ladder, right? And we've all opted in, we're all doing Terror Zones. And I think that it's important to know you can play anywhere if you have these Grand Charms. Every class can play. So, Wind Druid now can break physical immunity on the spot, which is cool. So how does that affect their mercenary? What would you use if you didn't have to worry about, the Reaper's Toll, casting Decrepify? What merc makes sense to you? If you're a Fire Druid, you're casting Geddon and Fissure and all these things, what makes sense to you? Another consideration I think is important. At the beginning of ladder season, I still think that the Smiter Paladin is going to be extremely important, because the Smiter is an easy way, Black Flail, all this jazz, like Duress Body Armor, G-Face, right? Life Tap Wand on proc, and you start doing the Ubers easily. But down the road, a couple months down the road, when ladder season 2 is out, patch 2.5 has been live for a bit, every class can do the Ubers. So imagine for a second, what's your favorite class? If you could sunder the immunities of the Ubers, what would you play? I'm going to give you some detailed information here for a second. Jot this down if you want to. This is how the resistance is currently in D2R for the Ubers. Uber Izul has 110 cold res. So if you've got the cold GC, you can sunder that. Lilith has 110 poison. So if you've got the poison resistance Grand Charm, you can sunder that. Duriel has nothing. He's really easy all the time. So congratulations, you still walk right through him. Sucks to be him on a day that ends in Y. Mephisto has lightning and poison that you can sunder. Diablo's got fire, and Bale has cold. So Bale's cold, Diablo's fire. Mephi is actually lightning and poison. Lilith is poison. Izzy is cold. That's what your pandemonium resistance looks like at the moment. That may get changed from the time of this video, but that's today. So remember, you can get in there. I've heard people 5-shotting the Ubers on a spear zone. I've heard people almost 2-shotting Ubers on the fire sorceress with meteor doing, you know, north of 110,000 damage. It's crazy as hell, man. Crazy as hell. And I'm excited to see. And that is the juice. That is diversity. That's what immediately you might hear, oh, this, you know, the Grand Charms are out and they're making Diablo worse because it's all very easy. While that is probably sort of true in one regard, it's also awesome because build diversity makes it interesting, because we can do things in different ways. We can approach interactions and engagements differently. I love it, man. I think it's great. So feel free to reach out in the comments below, guys. I read them all. I'm excited. I'm excited to give it a shot. I hope you guys are too. Tell me, what are you going to play? What are you excited to play on October 6th when the Season 2 goes live with these features inside? Again, I'm playing a barbarian. You can catch me live on twitch.tv/barricadettv, where I'm going to raffle off a couple spots, and you guys can earn spots to join the ladder start with me live on Twitch with everybody else playing the game, hopefully enjoying what is going to be a fantastic Season 2, where so many of us finally hit level 99 after never having a chance to do that before. And again, you can share your thoughts about that as well. I'm a fan, man. You never know. You never know how busy people are these days, and it's really cool that more people have a chance to enjoy that endgame experience in a way that maybe they never did before. Until the next one, guys, take it easy. Later.